Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Devrat Misra from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module Optical Properties 1 from paper Electronic, Magnetic and Optical Properties of Materials. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. So we will see first the behavior of a light wave in a homogeneous medium. Then we will come to the refractive index behavior in a medium which is direction dependent. Then we will talk about dispersion, refractive index, wavelength behavior in a medium, interdependency on each other, and Snell's law and total internal reflection in a medium. Light or visible light is the portion of electromagnetic radiation that is visible to the human eye, responsible for the sense of sight. Visible light has a wavelength in a range from about 380 or 400 nanometers to about 760 or 780 nanometer, with a frequency range of about 405 terahertz to 790 terahertz. In physics, the term light often comprises the adjacent radiate on regions of infrared at lower frequency range and ultraviolet at higher, not visible to the human eye. Primary properties of light are intensity, propagation direction, frequency or wavelength spectrum, and polarization, while its speed is 3 lakh kilometer 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second in vacuum is one of the fundamental constants of nature. Light, which is emitted and absorbed in tiny packets called photons, exhibits properties of both waves and particles. This property is referred to as the wave-particle duality. The study of light, known as optics, is an important research area in modern physics. Wave optics, wavefront. A wavefront is the locus of all the points in space which receive light waves from a source in phase. If the source of light is a point source and the medium is homogeneous and isotropic, the wavefront will be spherical in shape. However, at very large distances from the point source, the shape of the wavefront changes from spherical to a plane wavefront. Shape of the wavefront may also change due to its passage through a refracting medium such as a lens. A wavefront is always normal to the light rays. A wavefront does not propagate in the backward direction. Cylindrical wavefront. When the source of light is linear in shape, cylindrical wavefront is formed. Plane wavefront. A small part of a spherical or cylindrical wavefront originating from a distant source can be considered as a plane wavefront. Huygens principle. Each point on a given primary wavefront acts as a source of secondary wavelets, sending out disturbances in all directions in a similar manner as the original source of light does. The new position of the wavefront at any instant, that is secondary wavefront, is given by the forward envelope to the secondary wavelets at that instant. Huygens construction, see the figure. Reflection on the basis of wave theory. The angle between the reflected ray and the normal is called angle of reflection. The two laws of reflection are angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. The incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Light waves in a homogeneous medium. We know from well-established experiments that light exhibits typical wave-like properties such as interference and diffraction. We can treat light as electromagnetic wave with time-varying electric and magnetic field Ex and By respectively, which propagate through space in such a way that they are always perpendicular to each other, and the direction of propagation z is as depicted in the figure. The simplest traveling wave is a sinusoidal wave, which for propagation along z has the general mathematical form Ex is equal to E0 into cos of omega t minus kz plus phi 0, where Ex is the electric field at position z at time t, k is the propagation constant or wave number given by 2 pi by lambda, where lambda is the wavelength, omega is the angular frequency, E0 is the amplitude of the wave, and phi 0 is a phase constant which accounts for the fact that at t is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0, Ex may or may not necessarily be 0 depending on the choice of origin. The argument omega t minus kz plus phi 0 is called the phase of the wave and is denoted by phi. Figure 1 shows an electromagnetic wave is a traveling wave that has time-varying electric and magnetic fields that are perpendicular to each other, and the direction of propagation is z. Equation 1 describes a monochromatic plane wave of infinite extent traveling in the positive z direction as depicted in figure 2. In any plane perpendicular to the direction of propagation, the phase of the wave according to equation 1 is constant, which means that the field in this plane is also constant. A surface over which the phase of a wave is constant is referred to as a wavefront. A wavefront of a plane wave is obviously a plane perpendicular to the direction of propagation as shown in figure 2. We know from electromagnetism that time-varying magnetic fields result in time-varying electric fields, and vice versa. A time-varying electric field would set up a time-varying magnetic field with the same frequency. According to electromagnetic principles, a traveling electric field Ex, as represented by equation 1, would always be accompanied by a traveling magnetic field By with the same wave frequency and propagation constant as omega and k. But the directions of the two fields would be orthogonal as in figure 1. Thus, there is a similar traveling wave equation for the magnetic field component By. We generally describe the interaction of a light wave with a non-conducting matter where the conductivity sigma is equal to 0 through the electric field component Ex rather than by because it is the electric field that displaces the electrons in molecules or ions in the crystal and thereby gives rise to the polarization of matter. However, the two fields are linked as in figure 1 and there is an intimate relationship between the two fields. The optical field refers to the electric field Ex. Figure 2 represents a plane electromagnetic wave traveling along z direction and has the same Ex or By at any point in a given xy plane. All electric field vectors in a given xy plane are therefore in phase. The xy planes are of infinite extent in x and y directions. We can also represent a traveling wave using the exponential notation since cos phi is equal to real of exponential of j phi, where the real Re refers to the real part. We then need to take the real part of any complex result at the end of the calculations. Thus, we can write equation 1 as Ex zt is equal to real part of E0 exponential of j phi into exponential of j into omega t minus kz, or Ex which is a function of zt is equal to real term of Ec exponential of j omega t minus kz, where Ec is equal to E0 exponential of j phi 0 is a complex number that represents the amplitude of the wave and includes the constant phase information phi 0. We indicate the direction of propagation with a vector k called the wave vector, whose magnitude is the propagation constant k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. It is clear that k is perpendicular to constant phase planes as indicated in figure 2. When the electromagnetic wave is propagating along some arbitrary direction k as indicated in figure 3, then the electric field ERT at a point r on a plane perpendicular to k is ERT is equal to E0 cos omega t minus kz plus phi 0. Because the dot product k dot r is along the direction of propagation similar to kz, the dot product is the product of k and the projection of r onto k, which is r dash in figure 3. So k dot r is equal to kr dash. Indeed, if propagation is along z, k dot r becomes kz. In general, if k has components kx, ky and kz along the xyz directions, then from the definition of the dot product k dot r is equal to k dot kx into x plus ky into y plus kz into z. Figure 3 represents a traveling electromagnetic wave along direction k. The time and space evolution of a given phase phi, for example, the phase corresponding to a maximum field according to equation 1 is described by phi is equal to omega t minus kz plus phi 0, which is a constant. During a time interval delta t, this constant phase and hence the maximum field moves a distance delta z. The phase velocity of this wave is therefore del z by del t. Thus, the phase velocity v is equal to dz by dt is equal to omega by k is equal to nu lambda, where nu is the frequency and omega is equal to 2 pi nu. We are frequently interested in the phase difference delta phi at a given time between 2 points on a wave, as shown in figure 1, that are separated by a certain distance. If the wave is traveling along z with a wave vector k as in equation 1, then the phase difference between the 2 points separated by delta z is simply k into delta z, since omega t is the same for each point. If this phase difference is 0 or multiples of 2 pi, then the 2 points are in phase. Thus, the phase difference delta phi can be expressed as k delta z or 2 pi into delta z by lambda. Refractive index. When an electromagnetic wave is traveling in a dielectric medium, the oscillating electric field polarizes the molecule of the medium at the frequency of the wave. Intuitively, the EM or the electromagnetic wave propagation can be considered to be the propagation of this polarization in the medium. The field and the induced molecular dipoles become coupled. The net effect is that the polarization mechanism delays the propagation of electromagnetic wave. The stronger the interaction between the field and the dipoles, the slower is the propagation of the wave. The relative permittivity epsilon r measures the ease with which the medium becomes polarized, and hence it indicates the extent of interaction between the field and the induced dipoles. For an electromagnetic wave traveling in a non-magnetic dielectric medium of relative permittivity epsilon r, the phase velocity v is given by v is equal to 1 over root over of epsilon r epsilon 0 into mu 0. If the frequency v is in the optical frequency range, then epsilon r will be due to electronic polarization, as ionic polarization will be too sluggish to respond to the field. However, at the infrared frequencies or below, the relative permittivity also includes a significant contribution from ionic polarization, and the phase velocity is slower. For an electromagnetic wave traveling in free space, epsilon r is equal to 1 and v vacuum is equal to 1 by root over of epsilon 0 into mu 0, which is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, the velocity of light in a vacuum. The ratio of the speed of light in free space to its speed in a medium is called the refractive index n of the medium, where n is equal to c by v is equal to root over of epsilon r. Suppose that in free space k0 is the wave vector and lambda 0 is the wavelength, then the wave vector k in the medium will be nk0 and the wavelength lambda will be lambda 0 by n. Indeed, we can also define the refractive index in terms of the wave vector k in the medium with respect to that in a vacuum k0. So, n is equal to k by k0. Equation 6 is in agreement with our intuition that light propagates more slowly in a denser medium which has a higher refractive index. We should note that the frequency remains the same. The refractive index of a medium is not necessarily the same in all directions. In a non-crystalline materials such as glasses and liquids, the material structure is the same in all directions and n does not depend on the direction. The refractive index is then isotropic. In crystals, however, the atomic arrangements and interatomic bonding are different along different directions. Crystals in general have non-isotropic or anisotropic properties. Depending on the crystal structure, the relative permittivity epsilon r is different along different crystal directions. This means that in general, the refractive index n seen by a propagating electromagnetic wave in a crystal will depend on the value of epsilon r along the direction of the oscillating electric field, that is, along the direction of polarization. For example, suppose that the wave in figure 1 is traveling along the z direction in a particular crystal with its electric field oscillating along the x direction. If the relative permittivity along the x direction is epsilon rx, then nx is equal to root over of epsilon rx. The wave therefore propagates with a phase velocity that is c by nx. The variation of n with the direction of propagation and the direction of the electric field depends on the particular crystal structure. With the exception of cubic crystals such as diamond, all crystals exhibit a degree of optical anisotropy, which leads to a number of important applications. Typically, non-crystalline solid such as glasses and liquids and cubic crystals are optically isotropic. They possess only one refractive index for all directions. Dispersion, refractive index, wavelength behavior. The refractive index of materials in general depends on the frequency or the wavelength. This wavelength dependence follows directly from the frequency dependence of the relative permittivity epsilon r. Figure 4 shows what happens to an atom in the presence of an oscillating electric field E, which is due to a light wave passing through this location. It may also be due to an applied external field. Figure 4 shows the electronic polarization of an atom in the presence of a field in the plus x direction. The electrons are displaced in x directions from O, and the restoring force is in the plus x direction. In the absence of an electric field and in equilibrium, the center of mass c of the orbital motions of the electrons coincides with the positively charged nucleus at O, and the net electric dipole moment is 0 as indicated in figure 4a. Suppose that the atom has z number of electrons orbiting the nucleus and all the electrons are contained within a given cell. In the presence of the electric field E, however, the light electrons become displaced in the opposite direction to the field. So their center of mass C is shifted by some distance x with respect to the nucleus O, which we take to be the origin as shown in figure 4b. As the electrons are pushed away by the applied field, the Coulombic attraction between the electrons and nuclear charge pulls in the electrons. The force on the electrons due to E trying to separate them away from the nuclear charge is Z into small e into capital E, where capital E is the electric field and small e is the electric charge. The restoring force Fr, which is the Coulombic and attractive force between the electrons and the nucleus, can be taken to be proportional to the displacement x provided that the latter is small. The reason is that Fr is equal to Fr, which is a function of x, can be expanded in powers of x, and for small x only the linear term matters. The restoring force Fr is obviously 0 when C coincides with O, or x is equal to 0. We can write Fr is equal to minus beta x, where beta A is a constant and the negative sign indicates that Fr is always directed towards the nucleus O. First, consider applying a DC field in equilibrium. The net force on the negative charge is 0, or Z small e into capital E is equal to beta x, from which x is known. Therefore, the magnitude of the induced electric dipole moment is given by Z square E square by beta into electric field E, as expected, induced in proportional to the applied field. The electronic dipole moment in equation 8 is valid under static conditions, that is, when the electric field is a DC field. Suppose that we suddenly remove the applied electric field polarizing the atom. There is then only the restoring force minus beta x, which always acts to pull the electrons toward the nucleus O. The equation of motion of the negative charge center is then force is equal to mass into acceleration minus of beta x is equal to z into me into d square x by dt square. By solving this differential equation, we can show that the displacement at any time is a simple harmonic motion, that is xt is equal to x0 into cos of omega 0 t, where the angular frequency of collision omega 0 is equal to root over of beta by z into me. In essence, this is the oscillation frequency of the center of mass electron cloud about the nucleus, and x0 is the displacement before the removal of the field. After the removal of the field, the electronic charge cloud executes simple harmonic motion about the nucleus with a natural frequency omega 0 determined by equation 9. Omega 0 is also called the resonance frequency. The oscillations, of course, die out with time because there is an inevitable loss of energy from an oscillating charge cloud. An oscillating electron is like an oscillating current and loses energy by radiating electromagnetic waves. All accelerating charges emit radiation. Consider now the presence of an oscillating electric field due to an electromagnetic wave passing through the location of this atom as in figure 4b. The applied field oscillates harmonically in the plus x and minus x direction, that is E is equal to E0 exponential of j omega t. This field will drive and oscillate the electrons about the nucleus. There is again a restoring force Fr acting on the displaced electrons, trying to bring back the electrons shell to its equilibrium placement around the nucleus. For simplicity, we will again neglect energy losses. Newton's second law for Jd electrons with mass Zdme driven by E is given by Zdme into d square by dt square is equal to Ze into capital E0 exponential of j omega t minus beta x. The solution of this equation gives the instantaneous displacement xt of the center of mass of electron from the nucleus. The induced electronic dipole moment is then simply given by P induced is equal to minus Jd into x. The negative sign is needed because normally x is measured from negative to positive charge, whereas in figure 4b it is measured from the nucleus. By definition, the electronic polarizability alpha E is the induced dipole moment for unit electric field. Alpha E is equal to P induced by E, which is equal to Jd square by Ma into omega 0 square minus omega square. Given that the polarizability is frequency dependent as in equation 9.12, the effect on the refractive index n is easy to predict. The simplest relationship between the relative permittivity epsilon r and polarizability alpha E is equal to epsilon r is equal to 1 plus n by epsilon 0 into alpha E, which finally gives n square is equal to 1 plus nz e square by epsilon 0 me into lambda 0 by 2 pi c whole square into lambda square by lambda square minus lambda 0 square. This type of relationship between n and the frequency or wavelength a lambda is called the dispersion relation. Snell's law and total internal reflection. We have so far discussed the propagation of electromagnetic wave in an isotropic, homogeneous, dielectric medium such as in air or vacuum. In this lecture, we would discuss what happens when a plane electromagnetic wave is incident at the interface between two dielectric media. For being specific, we will take one of the medium to be air or vacuum and the other to be dielectric such as glass. Let us choose the interface to be the xy plane. The angles of incidence, reflection and refraction are the angles made by the respective propagation vectors with the common normal at the interface. We have indicated the propagation vectors in the appropriate medium by capital letters I, R and T, so as not to confuse with the notation for the position vector small r and time t. The principle that we use to establish the laws of reflection and refraction is the continuity of the tangential components of the electric field at the interfaces, as discussed extensively during the course of these lectures. Let us represent the component of the electric field parallel to the interface by the superscript parallel. We then have an equation and which gives finally ki minus kr into n cap is equal to 0. Thus we have ki sin theta I is equal to kr sin theta r. Since ki and kr are in the same medium, though their directions are different, their magnitude are same. That means the modulus of ki is equal to modulus of kr is equal to omega by c, and hence we have sin theta is equal to sin theta r, and theta is equal to theta r, which is the law of reflection. Similarly, this Snell's law is also proved. That means sin theta I by sin theta r is equal to n, and here n is the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the incident medium. This is the Snell's law, which relates the angle of incidence and refraction to the refractive indices of the media. When n1 is greater than n2, then obviously the transmitted angle is greater than the incident angle. When the refraction angle theta t reaches 90 degree, the incidence angle is called the critical angle theta c, which is given by sin theta c is equal to n2 by n1. When the incidence angle theta 1 exceeds theta c, then there is no transmitted wave but only a reflected wave. The latter phenomena is called the total internal reflection. Figure 6 shows that light wave traveling in a denser medium strikes a less dense medium. Depending on the incident angle with respect to theta c, determined by the ratio of the refractive indices. The wave may be transmitted or refracted or reflected according to if theta is less than theta c, theta b second case is theta I is equal to theta c, and c third case is theta I is greater than theta c, and total internal reflection. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. So we learned the behavior of a light in a homogeneous medium what is that is explained briefly. Then direction dependent behavior of the refractive index is explained. Snell's law and total internal reflection is also explained. Dispersion, refractive index, wavelength, behavior in a medium, interdependency on each other is also described. Thank you.